What is going on, everybody? We have a very special guest in the building. We have 49ers defensive end Bryce Huff in the building. Super excited to get into this conversation. This the eventful couple months that has gone on for him that includes a trade, but I'm really excited to get into this conversation and see how he's going to fit with this new defensive look and all that good stuff. So I'm excited to get into it. So let's make Bryce feel welcome. Drop a 47 in the chat and let's get into it all right now. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What's going on, Bryce? We got the 47s coming in hot in the chat, man. How are you doing, dude? I know it's been a wild ride for you, but you getting settled in the Bay and
Yes,
everything
sir.
going good?
Yes, sir. 100%. It's been a very eventful couple months, but we're here. We're settled in, and I've just been out here grinding, honestly. So it's been a good time already. Just getting acclimated to the facilities and learning the plays you guys got here. So I'm looking forward to this season.
Yeah, man. I think we're all looking forward to it. It couldn't get here fast enough. And I know with training camp being less than a month away, we're right around the corner.
Yeah,
But it was super cool, man. Seeing you get acclimated with the guys again, rocking that number 47. It was cool because you obviously broke into the league as an undrafted free agent with the Jets, and you rocked that 47. You switched that number when you went to the Eagles, but now you're back in that 4-7. Does it feel good? Does it feel like almost like back home being in that number?
yeah, 100%. That number, like I came, like you said, I came into the league undrafted, rocking that number. So now that I'm back here, I'm just getting back to my roots, getting back to who I am and what I do. So I'm very excited to rock that this year.
Yeah, man, we're hyped too. And mentioning breaking into the league as an undrafted free agent, it's really challenging, really difficult to do, right? And when you did that after, being overlooked in the draft, was that a special moment when you found out that you had made a 53-man roster after that situation kind of transpired?
I mean, I don't think the weight of the situation had hit me as hard as people would expect it to. I know I came in, I signed undrafted, and then from the moment, like after the draft, my agent called me. He was like, "Are you excited?" And I was like, "No, like I'm I'm pissed off. Like I just want to work." So that's all I did, and I kind of didn't give myself an out. Like like after the COVID or when the pandemic happened, we basically did rookie minicamp on Zoom, and then they sent us our letters to report for camp. And normally, like as an undrafted guy, you would just fly up and be able to like leave if you get cut or something like that. But I literally packed everything into my car and I drove from Alabama to New York because I knew for a fact that I wasn't gonna get cut. I was like, I don't have a choice. Like I'm driving up here, like there's no way I'm going home. I'm not making that drive. I'm not driving anywhere else. So no, I got up there and I got to work. But really, I want to give a lot of credit to Coach Blake Williams because he saw my potential from day one, even when a lot of people didn't. Hence me going on.
Oh, looks like we lost Bryce for a second. Let's see here. Maybe he'll pop back in. Oh, he was cooking too. We're gonna get him back though. We'll get Bryce up once he's back in. There he goes.
I had somebody call me
Yeah,
on the
that
side.
happens. That happens often when we get calls on live. But
Yeah,
go ahead, man. You were talking about how you had driven up to New
yeah.
York and. There's no other
Yeah,
choice.
so my coach at the time, Blake Williams, he saw my potential from day one. And like we were staying after practice like every day, learning plays on the weekends, off days. Like we were just up there the entire camp. And then I remember like the last day of camp, we ended up staying at the facility for like 5 or 6 hours. And it was an off day, like right before they announced final cuts. And I stayed out there for like 5 or 6 hours. We went through every play in the playbook, every variation of each play. And yeah, once I did that, I was kind of like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be putting in all this work and not make the team. So then the next day, my agent called me. He was all excited. I was like, bro, you don't understand the work I put in. Like that, this had to happen. Like there's no way. But I was super grateful for being given that opportunity and that amount of like I was super grateful for my coach to even put that amount of time in with me because that was what got me over the top for the roster, especially with me being on the bubble how I was. So yeah, huge shout out to Coach Williams for that.
I mean, I love hearing that story, right? Because I think we hear about guys who are maybe drafted lower than they wanted, or guys who have even gone undrafted, right? You hear the chip on the shoulder, that kind of mentality, but I think you just explained it. You got your opportunity to go in as a UDFA, but you knew there was no shot that you were leaving without being a part of this team moving on.
Yeah.
And that's strong, right? That speaks to mentality, that speaks to heart. That speaks to the things that I think maybe some fans don't see, right? That is kind of underneath the the sacks and the sack sellies and all that stuff. It's like, man, it took everything to be put in that position and then to take advantage of it. And so I think that's really cool to already hear that you came into the league with that mentality that basically nothing was given and everything was earned, right?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yeah, man, that's super cool. So you make that roster and you go through that process and you're with the Jets and you're coming along and you're getting 2 sacks here, 4 sacks here. The pressures are starting to pile up. And then in 2023, you absolutely exploded onto the scene. 10 sacks, over 67 total pressures, according to PFF, and you became one of the most prolific rushers in the league at that time and still are. But dude, in that season, you led the NFL with a 21.87 pressure rate. That's crazy. Did something click that specific year that just allowed you to go all out and really solidify yourself in this league?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me in that season was going from being hyper focused on one on ones and more focused on rushing as a unit. Cause like when you're focused on winning your one on ones, they can all like people can send chips and slide to your side and all kinds of stuff. But when you're emphasizing playing to your teammates' strengths. Like I was playing with Q, like Quentin Williams, Q
Yeah.
Jeff, Salah, JFM. Like knowing how to rush with those different types of rushers within this scheme is what opened up my moves. Cause like even when you're rushing with the teammate, you still have to utilize your one-on-one abilities and your hand quickness and twitch and all kinds of stuff. So I was able to work with them to kind of bring my own rush alive, and as a result, we all kind of saw an increase in production. Yeah, especially when teams were scheming for like they were mainly scheming for Q, and then they'll have people going for Jermaine, and then they'll have people going for me, and then Will, and we all just were able to play off of that in a sense to where they couldn't keep like they couldn't maintain an edge on any of us. Like we were just moving around too much, and we were just gaming it up too well for him. So I think that's really what turned me loose in that year. Is just like the collaborative effort from me and like all my guys on that line.
Well, that's really cool, right? Because I do think some fans may look at it as more of a one-on-one situation, right? Just win your matchup, win that rep, beat that
Yeah.
tackle off the edge or what have you. But what you're speaking to is the game within the game, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
where
for sure. And
you're a lot,
don't get me wrong, the one on ones are like that's a given. Like that's
right?
like base downs, like third down, you got to burn the nest. Like that's like second nature. But I think in that season, that's definitely what I had. Not only my own abilities, but the elevated sense of urgency when it came to working with my teammates. That's what really got me over that productive edge.
Well, and it's really cool, right? Because you're going up against a five-man line sometimes, like you mentioned. You're getting a tight
Yeah.
end chip, you're getting a running back chip, especially when you're an edge guy, right? They're
Mhm.
hypersensitive, especially to speed like that you have coming off that edge. And so when you start to realize where they're sliding protections, who they're keying on, like you said, they're queuing on Q, right? And that might be sliding guys to him, and
Mhm.
then you're starting to feel like, all right, in this situation I can see, based on my preparation or scheme, this
Yeah.
is how I'm going to attack. And
Yeah.
then it allows you to be more proficient in exactly what you're doing, and then you guys start feeding off each other, because
Yeah.
then
100%.
you're like, well, the offense is like, dude, we don't know who to stop. There's
Yeah.
It's super hard. And
And
when you
then
got
like that for sure is like when they're like, yo, we don't know who to stop. But then we talk among ourselves and like I'll be like talking to Salah, he'd be like, yeah, this guy can't stop a speed swipe to save his life. So when we go up there again, we're gonna switch and let you get the I'm gonna let you get the speed swipe or like vice versa. So we would throw each other lobs all the time and that was so much fun. And yeah.
dude. And again, you mentioned it, Salah, being the head coach for the Jets, from 21, I think it was, to 23, 24.
Hmm.
Um, and now, crazy enough, he finds himself back as DC with the San Francisco 49ers. And again, we love Salah here. He's our guy. Um, what is your guys' relationship like? And, did that play into at all you actually landing on the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah, so we have a great relationship just because like once I had that 1 year with Blake and then the entire staff got laid off in New York that year. So then they brought in Coach Saleh. And I remember that exit meeting going into my second year, Joe Douglas was basically like, yeah, I know you worked your ass off, but you got to prove yourself again because we have an entirely new staff who has no idea who you are.
Mm.
And I was like, say less. Like I was gonna do that anyway. So yeah, I left for the first part of the offseason. I came back before OTAs, and I remember we just got like Coach Mike Nicolini and the strength staff and the recovery staff we had, and they really had everything down to a science. So I paired that up with my work ethic and just like leaned into everything that they had taught me, whether it's running form, how to recover properly, what days I need to lift heavy, and what days I need to lighten it up a little bit. So their process and that formula took me from a basic uh, rusher or who can play the run here and there to a guy who can consistently burn off the ball. I was twitchier than I'd ever been. I was stronger than I'd ever been, and I feel like that strength staff really turned me up. And then I got to camp with Coach Sala and his staff with Coach Whitecon and Coach Ulbrich, and they just put me in the best positions to show what I could do, whether it's speeding off the ball or speed to power or stunts in the run or whatever it may be. Like I feel like it was a collective effort to just like put all of us in the best position to ball out. And with a group of people like that, it's either like you do what you're supposed to do and you're gonna ball out, or you just don't care enough because the like with as many resources as we had to put ourselves in the best position to play at the highest level, like there was no excuse as to why you couldn't ball out with that amount of help around you. So they do a really good job. And Coach Solid did a great job lining all that up for us in New York. And I saw a lot of guys elevate themselves throughout my 3 years with them. So I'm extremely excited to be back here in San Fran. I know last year wasn't my best season at all in Philly, and I had a lot of stuff going down. But one thing led to another, and I got that call from my agent when the trade window opened up, and I was on a plane to Santa Clara. So I'm extremely excited to be here. I've been here working with the same staff that took me from a basic player to like top of the league in pressure rate, top of the league in win rate, sacks and whatnot. So I've been here putting in the same work that I put in all those years this summer, and I'm gonna be here until the first day of camp. So I'm excited to see how everything plays out this year with being back in Coach Saleh's scheme, being back with this performance staff.
Well, you had mentioned, like, one of the awesome things about Salah and his staff were able to do with that defense is, like you said, lining you guys up to be in the best position to be successful. Obviously, you had mentioned going to Philly, and there's a pretty dramatic scheme change there, right? You are used to being in a 4-3 front. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Salah was running the wide nine out there
Mhm.
in New York. And then you transition to, you know, Vic Fangio scheme. 49er fans know him well with his time with us in the Harbaugh era, but we know he runs that 3-4. And we know that those rushers, or I guess more outside linebacker, I guess you could say, typically stand up.
Yeah,
That's a big difference, right? Like I think some fans might look at it as like, oh, we're just going from our hand in the dirt to standing up, but there's a whole list of, like you said, scheme, responsibility, all these different elements, and it must feel nice to be back in that wide nine scheme.
yeah. I feel it feels like home, honestly.
Yeah.
Like being able to put my hand in the dirt and utilize my full posterior chain to get off the ball every time, every snap. It's like gives me an advantage because that's like what I worked on my entire life. Like I've been playing D line, D N since I was 4 years old with my hand in the dirt. So I feel like that mind muscle memory that mind muscle connection is just like it's been solidified for over 15 years of just playing football, and that's how my body fires the best. Honestly, that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, dude, and I'm excited to see you on that other side of Nick Bosa. We saw some pretty cool. I think Bosa posted some clips or like some photographs of you guys like kind of talking through what looks like maybe some hand swipes or some technical stuff. What
Mhm.
what has been your first impression of Nick Bosa and kind of envisioning what you guys could do kind of as a pair, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
Nick Bosa on one side, you on the other, and then meeting at the quarterback. Like,
yeah,
have you guys talked about that? And again, just what has been your first impression of
yeah.
Bosa on the team?
Yeah, Nick's a cool guy. I mean, we chopped it up a bit during spring camp, and I just kind of like watched everybody's process, and he's pretty dialed in, and he's a hard worker. And I'm extremely excited to get there and ball out with him, and not only him, but every guy on the D line. Like I've been chopping it up with all kinds of guys on the front. So I'm extremely excited to work with all of them, and I know like Bose has been killing in the league since forever, right? So to be on the team with him, like it's gonna be lit. Honestly, just playing with another dominant edge in the league like Jermaine in New York in this scheme, I know what's possible with Nick and like the amount of stuff we can cook up. Like by the last couple games in New York, like me and Jermaine were freestyling on the field. So I just know like he's been in the scheme a long time as well. So I know he has some tricks up his sleeve, but I know come week one, like we're gonna be dialed in, and I'm extremely excited to get to work with him throughout camp and the preseason and the season as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. And you did mention some of the other guys. A guy that I really like and that I think has a lot of potential, Sam Okiwanu. I think
Yeah.
that, and you guys kind of have a similar
Similar
build in a
build,
sense.
yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, man, let's get these guys linked up and see if we could put the little coach hat on Bryce.
Yeah,
And because Sam, I know he had a later start into football and everything, but I mean the talent is there, and so
100%. Yeah, I've been chopping. He's been here training with me and coach and everybody. Like, there's been a good bit of guys here, so we've been out here training throughout the summer and chopping it up and whatnot. So we're definitely gonna have to pick each other's brains about the scheme and like our strengths and what we like to do and stuff like that, because that all plays a role at the end of the day. Um, yeah, so I'm looking forward to working with him too.
absolutely. So also on top of that, what has your first impression been of Crisco Zurich? I mean, that energy, you
Oh,
know, screaming all practice. Does that get you? Does that fit your style of just being like, yeah,
yeah.
this is gonna be great for us?
100%. Because Coach Chris was the D line coach when Coach Whitecott was there, and when he came to Coach Whitecott was my coach in New York, and he had that same energy. He was a very like you can like I've had coaches not in the league necessarily, but just throughout my life who like try to rah the guys up, but don't really mean it. Like Coach Chris
Yeah.
means it like with every fiber of his being, like, and I know I can feel it. Like I know when somebody means what they say, like he means everything he says, and that got my respect from day one. Like I was like, yeah, I know what type of year it's about to be. Like when you're in a room with guys who are that passionate about the game and like love what they do, there's no way you can not succeed with that type of person as your D line coach. So huge shout out to Coach Chris. I'm extremely excited to get to work with him this season. Um, yeah, I'm extremely excited to get to work with him. Yeah.
Dude, it when I think it was like Schefter or Rappaport, like the notification came across the phone. The 49ers have traded for Bryce Huff. I mean, these were all the things that I'm instantly thinking of. I'm like, all right, we got a legitimate edge rusher on the opposite side of Bosa. We're gonna pair him with Chris Kosirk, reunite with Robert Saleh. We got some young bucks coming in, Michael Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks huge to me. I
Nah,
don't
he's a
know.
unit. He's a unit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw him training this morning. I was like, yeah, he's gonna wreak some havoc in this front for sure.
And I think you mentioned it too, kind of bringing it back to like where you got started with Salah and, in New York is putting everyone in their best position to be successful. And when you look at guys like Alfred Collins, I know he hasn't gotten onto the field yet, but even like CJ West and some of the other guys, Yetur Gross Matos is out there. He's kind of one of those guys who can be an edge, rush on the interior.
Mhm.
It feels like you have this toolkit of guys who can be implemented in a bunch of different ways. And to
100%.
me, that's really exciting. And it's got to be exciting for you
Yeah.
because you're like, man, I can see how we can really eat this year.
Yeah, I already see the blueprint. Like I work like being in New York with this scheme for 3 years and seeing how they utilize each person's body type to make them like play their best. I already see how it's about to go down this year. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm super excited.
Dude, I'm so hyped. I can't wait for training camp. I can't wait to see you versus Trent Williams. I think that is when I go through the inventory of things that I'm really looking forward to evaluating.
Hmm.
I know Trent, our crafty veteran. He doesn't, he has his vet days, but when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Yes,
I know you
sir.
guys haven't really gone against each other in practice yet, or even if you have, it's been no pads.
Yeah.
Is that one that you're looking forward to as well, just as a
You know, I've
competitor?
always I've always looked forward to going against the best tackles in the league, especially on game day, just to know like how it's gonna go down. And like I've always wanted to go against Trent, so the fact that I ended up on the team with him is even better because I'm gonna get to go up against him multiple times. I'm assuming I don't know how the swapping size works yet with this scheme and the guys here, like how they like to swap around. But hopefully I do get some time on that side, uh, and we can get to work because like the saying, iron sharpens iron. I'm extremely excited to work with somebody as cold as him on a consistent basis. So
Yeah, dude, I'm so hyped. Everything is pointing in the right direction, and I'm really looking forward to. I kind of wanted to jump back into the trade a little bit
hmm
and kind of just get like an inside look on like what that's like, because obviously as fans with the outside looking in, we just kind of see, the notifications pop off and we're like, oh, we had a huge trade in the league. I
Hmm.
think Jalen Ramsey, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Minka,
Yeah,
Darren Waller, like it's crazy, right? Trades are
yeah.
crazy. But what was like your inside perspective? Like, were you surprised when that it came across? I know San Francisco. Like,
Nah.
what's kind of like the what's kind of like the behind the scenes feel that goes into a trade?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I wanted to trade like fairly early on, and just because of how things went in Philly, like I knew pretty early on that it wasn't a fit. But like being a signing of that magnitude, like being undrafted and going and getting that contract and being in Philly, like the expectations are at an all-time high. So I knew a trade wasn't going to happen during the season. But I had just kind of like talked to my agent about it. I was like, yeah, when it's all said and done, like I might need to step, just to be able to put myself in the best position to ball out and have a fruitful career. And there's a plethora of things that went down. I don't want to get into specifics, but
Of course.
I like being in the league for five years last year. I'm going into my sixth right now, but being in the league for 5 years, I kind of knew what it felt like for me to be what's the word? To be in a good situation, and that's just what I was like, yeah, I gotta look out for myself and do what I think is best. So I mean I kind of knew where it was headed like fairly early on into the season, but probably even training camp, if I'm being honest with you. But so when everything kind of popped off, it was just like, yeah, all right, let's get to work.
What was the initial reaction that it was the 49ers? Was it excitement, relief, maybe a little bit of both? Um, or was it just like, let's put our hard hat on. It's time to get to
Yeah,
work.
like it's time. Like it's nothing even think about. Like I just like that's me.
Yeah.
Like it's up. Like point blank. Period. Like I don't have. It wasn't really like too emotional. It was just like, all right.
Uh, Bryce probably getting called again. One of the things when you're on the live, and you get a call is it cuts out the feed. But what is pretty interesting about what Bryce was saying is that, you know um, he will be in a position where he'll really have an opportunity to really be able to reach his maximum potential. And, from the sounds of it, maybe didn't work out with Philly, but we already know it's going to work out here in San Francisco. We understand the fit. We understand everything that's coming on. You get another call again?
Yeah, I got some business stuff going on
Yeah,
on the
I
second
bet.
half of my day, so people were pinging my phone. But like
Of
I was,
course.
I mean, I don't know if you were talking about something else. I could
No,
continue
go
where I
ahead.
was at.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so like I was saying, like when I got the call, it was basically just like I knew what it was. Like it's straight to work. So yeah,
Yeah, and man, again, it's a full circle moment. 49er fans, Philly fans, we got our beef. We go back. So we're excited to have you on this side and go to war for us. And again, hey, shout out to Philly, man. They just won the
yeah,
Super Bowl,
hundred
and
percent,
they went to the mountaintop, and we all know that's a very, very difficult task. So
hundred
got to
percent.
tip my cap to them. But at the end of the day,
Yeah,
it's still a battle
it's
when it comes to
yeah.
those those Philly
It's
fans,
all
man.
it's all love at the end of the day. Like even though I
Yeah,
wasn't a good fit, like I got nothing but love and respect for all the guys on that team that worked their asses off that entire year to make that happen. So
of
huge shout out to
course.
my guys in Philly.
Of course. I wanted to get into some film. Are you down to do that?
Yes, sir, 100%.
Let's go. I always enjoy this element of having some guys on because we can show some clips and then kind of get the mindset of what's going on. One of the things that I want to do with some of these film clips is I think we all know that you are one of the best speed rushers in this league, right? Like we know that speed, bend around the corner. I mean, that's a given when it comes to Bryce Huff. But I think there's also some other elements, and I think with some of these clips, we'll kind of see how that comes to fruition. Like this clip right here, I see Garrett Bowles, who's one of the better, left tackles in the league. He bails instantly because of that speed.
Yeah.
What do you see here, and like what's kind of going through your mindset fighting off this and getting to the quarterback
Yes.
and affecting the play?
Yeah. So he was kind of sitting on speed, and he kind of already had it in his mind at that point in the game that he was going to bail on me. So I just decided to try to jump the snap, and I did. So he basically just turned his shoulders completely, and he's tall, so he covered a lot of ground. And I was gonna swipe like counter back inside, like swipe his inside shoulder. I missed his inside pad by a hair, and you can see I kind of whiffed. And then he was like back off balance, and I was like, all right, cool, throw you the other way, and then I just slung it down right there and got the hit on Rush.
That's crazy, man. Because when you also mention your get off, like look at where you're at compared to Q. And Q, he's that's one of the best right there in the league.
Yeah,
Like your get off is crazy. And Garrett, typically you got your kick step. You're trying to not open up your gate right away. He starts
yeah,
almost running at you. Like
yeah.
that to me
Real
is
talk.
crazy.
And then you
And
can
then
kind of
you
see like Russ was sitting a little shallow at first too. It wasn't like he was just back waiting on the ball. He was sitting very shallow, so that's why I kind of countered that early, coming off the snap.
Yeah, dude. And again, you see some of the strength there, just getting him off balance. And
Yeah,
Russ felt that too.
oh for sure.
Um,
He was getting banged up bad. I know I hit him. Jermaine messed him up. Quincy hit him probably harder than he's been hit in his entire career on a blitz. So he was shaking up pretty badly. Into
he
that
was
last part
feeling
of
it.
the game. Oh yeah,
I love it. This one, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You're going to see, looks like a chip from the running back is going to be
hmm
thrown your way, right? And the whole point is to feed you back into the tackle.
yeah.
But man, you like sidestep inside. Like, tell me what's going on here because he completely missed you.
This right here is a flow state rush, like 100%. Like I didn't even realize what I had done until I watched film, because like I just felt the tackle come up. I stepped on my right foot twice right there. Like I jumped, like when I jumped inside. I can't really tell. It's kind of choppy on my end, but
Yeah,
it was like two right foot steps, and I landed on my inside foot right in front of the tackle. I mean, yeah, and then I just dipped the edge, and he whiffed on me. So that was a clean
dude.
sack.
No, it's crazy because you get
Yeah,
to see your set up for outside speed and how they react when you threaten inside or head up, and then you
yeah.
can just bounce it right back out, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's the type of like I was saying, like it was a flow state rush. Like that's some stuff that like nobody practices. Like you practice chip rushing, but like I've never practiced s- duck inside to speed dip outside. It's always like a hand movement. Like this was literally just like flow state.
Yeah,
Honest.
like the running backs when they do like those bag drills, like an individual drills where they're kind of
Yeah,
like hopping through. It's almost like you did one of those like lateral jump cuts, but then you were
yeah.
able to just get that corner, dude. Insane rush, insane
Appreciate
rush.
it.
This one from last year, Philly, and again, I think one of the highlights that we're gonna be pointing out is the respect to your outside speed,
Yeah,
and then your ability to counter off that. This one
yeah.
turned into a strip sack, but walk us through this play and kind of what you were seeing here.
So I knew I was gonna be able to get him to sit on speed because I had faced I forgot bro's name. The guy I'm going against right there, Steele. Yeah, Steele. So I came off knowing he was going to sit on speed, and I know I didn't have my outside hand to pull me around on a cross chop because at that point I was playing with a torn ligament in my wrist. So if I hit him with it or did anything with it, it would light up. So I just played off the speed and countered back with the inside hump move. Came clean for the strip sack on Cooper Rush right there.
I mean, See what I'm looking at from the tackle is you see the kick step and you see him hesitant to open up that gate, but the second he
Yeah,
bites on the outside move, you perfectly timed that hump move and he was cooked. Like there was no
yeah,
recovering from that.
no way.
And that's timing, right? And like you
Mhm.
mentioned, the fact is that why did you say it was your left hand?
My left, yeah, my left. I had a torn ligament in my left wrist. It basically made my hand unusable for like 4 weeks.
Well, you can
But
actually see how you're like holding it
keeping it
away
out the
from
way,
him.
yeah,
So
I was
you
keeping
just
it out the way.
you beat him with one hand, literally.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I played 4 games with one hand. Like I think like half
That's
of starting
crazy.
half of the Giants game until like the Jags game, I basically had one hand. Like all those.
Yeah, that's insane because I can literally see you holding your arm away from your body
Yeah.
because right, you would bring that hand in to do like a full swipe.
Yeah, like essentially, like I can't prop my phone up, but like if I throw a cross chop and I'll bring that left hand to like bring my like pull myself around, that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
And like so, I knew that was out of question because I've been trying to work cross shots, but if without the ability to pull yourself around or clear that arm, you're basically stuck on the edge.
Whew. Dude, that makes this even more impressive that you're
I
literally
appreciate it.
doing it with one hand. That's insane. Obviously turned
Yes,
out to
sir.
be a good play. And so like I was mentioning, I think with what we were seeing in these clips is these tackles are so sensitive to your speed
Hmm.
that we're seeing the counter moves that you're able to deploy. We were talking offline, before we set this up, and I wanted to pull these clips because I think this is an element of your game that people might not really recognize. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to let it play and you can speak to it from there because
Mm.
that is pure power. Talk
Yeah.
to me about what you're doing right here.
Basically just running on a line and they feel their speed. I don't think they necessarily feel the angle at which I take off. So they see me taking 1,000 steps a second and they think I'm just flying upfield. But in reality, like my aiming point is right at his head, essentially at a 5 yard depth, and I'm just like driving him back. And like all his momentum's moving backwards and mine is moving sideways. Or like at that angle, it kind of just like there's no power in this base to stop me right there.
That is nightmare fuel for offensive tackles. Not only are you dealing with the speed, but when you decide I'm going speed to power, I mean, that's tough, right? Because they're opening their gate. They're trying to make sure they don't get beat to the edge, but that makes them vulnerable. And
Yeah,
man, and then we're gonna see even some more elements to this. I mean, you put 72 on his butt.
yes, sir.
And then I think that's your new teammate too, by the way.
Yeah, he brought that up when I saw him when I
Did he?
first got here. Yeah, I posted that picture they took after the sack. He was like, "I think you post me on the ground on your story." And I was like, "My
Yeah,
bad."
like that right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's funny, man. It's funny when worlds collide, right? Because
yeah.
you can go from being a guy maybe in your division or someone that you're playing against constantly, and then all of a sudden you're a teammate later on down the road.
Right.
So talk me through what your setup here is and what your technique that you're trying to really implement.
So I got off with speed, and he was pretty much like he had pretty much jumped the snap, and he was lined with me. He had a good base, so I threw in like a little hezzy step at the top of my rush. I don't know if you
Yep,
can see you see the
right
little hezzy
there.
right there, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that was
see
enough.
it.
That was just enough for him to start leaning, and
Yep.
then I got back to his outside edge and grabbed his inside pad and twisted him out with enough. And I still had enough speed to keep his body moving backwards. So I think that's why he ended up on his butt. But yeah.
Dude, that's do you call that is that like a long arm? Is like
Yeah, that was
this?
long arm, like speed to long arm, essentially.
Yeah,
Is
the
I mean,
hezzy,
it's speed to
man.
power, but it's one arm. It's like I
Right.
wanted to work speed, but I just kind of had to react, so that's what it came out as, like a
And
speed to
it's
one arm.
so subtle, your little hezzy right there.
Yeah,
But it's being able to throw it and then recover immediately
Yeah.
because they're so trained to react to every little
100%.
thing you
It's
do.
it's just like if you watch a guy in UFC and they throw a little slight little knee real quick, and then the guy drops their hands and they go in for a hook. That's the exact thing. Like our bodies are trained to the point to where we subconsciously protect ourselves from certain things. So even like in football, there's things within people's film that you can pick up on and stuff like that. I don't think that was one of those. I just felt how he was setting, so I needed to get him my balance. But there are a lot of little subtle things to people's games that you can expose when you're watching film. And like since they're so trained, like they all react to what they consistently do. So that was a great point that you made.
Dude, it again, to me highlights your full bag of pass rush moves, right?
Yes, sir.
You have the base with get off, speed, and bend, but then you have speed to power, your cross chop, your counter inside move, swims. Like you can put top NFL tackle in absolute hell, and we're gonna see some of that actually coming up on this next clip. I also, again, just love that Mac Jones mentioned this to you, dude. That's so funny. Before we go any further, I don't think I have an actual example, but you got a sack celly.
Oh
Where'd that
yeah,
come from? It's kind of like
courtesy of Solomon Thomas. We were in the
okay.
we were in the weight room, like because he spent the most of his off season up in Jersey with me and like the staff too. So there was a group of us there. We all just always just messed around the weight room, playing music and dancing around and stuff. And like I would start hitting it, and then Solid would hit it, and then he kind of convinced me to use that dance move in the season. I was like, bro, there's no way. Like I would be so embarrassed to hit this goofy dance on the field. And then like on my sack versus the Broncos that year, I hit it one time and then Solid started doing it. I was like, all right, whatever. And I just did it after every sack.
No, it's like your signature now, and that's funny, man. And shout out to Solly, dude. I think
Sure.
Solly was our first draft pick of Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, John Lynch, our new regime. So
Yeah.
I love Solly, man. That was my
Yeah, me
guy.
too. Shout out to Solly and congrats to him. My boy just got engaged. So shout out to
Oh,
Solly for
awesome,
this.
dude. Yeah, dude.
Sure.
That's one guy I always root for, no matter what. Like
100%.
he's a real one, and he's just a great dude. And man, you guys even had Kinlaw last year too.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't get a
Oh,
chance to meet him.
that's right. You were in Philly.
Yeah, yeah.
My bad.
Oh, you
Um,
good?
this one I want to highlight. I think my boy Jordan Elliott posted some of these clips. I want to shout him out. Um, so this is Rashawn Slater, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Uh, to me, Rashawn is one of the best in the league at doing it. And whew, tell me about that.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what was in the air that night. I just know me, Andrew, Main, and Q were on one because that was a 3-man rush. 3 mans, like 3 on 5, and we
Yep.
had to just make something happen. I don't know what the call was, or like what was said for me to be that mad. I don't know if he was talking trash or what, but I something was up. But I definitely, yeah, that was
Because
one of
you
my
ran
favorite.
through him and then he held you because you can see you can't turn your
Yeah,
pads off him. You
yeah.
still hit Herbert,
I still got
and
half of
then
that. I still got
yeah.
half of
Oh,
that shot.
you got half. All right,
Yes,
good,
sir.
good, because you deserve probably the whole thing. But
No,
y-
it should have been a strip because if you see when I got to Herbert, the ball was like back
right
here
there,
loose, and if I would have been able to get off without him holding me like that, that's for sure a strip sack.
when you see the ball like that, is your initial instinct to punch it?
Yeah, or like hit his arm, or because if
Right.
you like if you go directly for the ball, they're like in their throwing motion, the ball's moving pretty quickly. So I try to go for elbow, forearm, because even if you go for bicep, they can still kind of swing it like that. But if you're going for elbow, forearm, like that ball's coming out more times than not.
No, that's a great point. That's a great coaching tip for any
Yeah,
D linemen who are still in high school or anything, man. Like, don't go for the
yeah,
ball. Go for the the joints.
Yeah, facts. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you got a clear shot and it's just sitting there, like I wouldn't go. I'm not going for. I'm going for full arm. It's a lot bigger surface area.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So again, like I said, to me, Rashawn Slater, I mean, you talk about technique, athletic ability, strength. He's, in my opinion, one of the best offensive tackles in the league. And like you said, something was in the air that night. And I, I mean, and again, the reason why I'm highlighting these is
Yeah,
because I see power, dude. Like I see more than what maybe people might perceive you as, which is just speed.
yeah,
This to me seems like where you see that you're a complete rusher. Like you can do it from any
yeah.
aspect. And do you feel like this clip just kind of
Yeah,
shows?
he was for sure talking trash because I remember him like after a rep where he clearly held me, he was talking trash. I'm like, bro, you can't trash talk me if you're literally holding me. And then he did it again right here, and I was just like, I threw. That's when I made a post about this actually. I remember he was talking so much trash, so he held me right there, and I threw him on the ground, and I said something to him and walked off.
Yeah, you could see his hand is almost on your back right
Yeah.
there, and you can see him pulling it.
Like if
And
your
then
head is going towards the ground and you magically just stop, you're clearly holding on to something.
right, 100%. We know holding happens, on every
Yeah,
play.
yeah, for sure. But don't talk trash about it like you're just jacking me up. Like if you're blocking me first, I'm like, all right, cool, you got it. But if you're holding me, do not talk trash to me.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Dude, that's so funny. All right. That's just a couple of the clips that I had. I think that, like I mentioned, I think it gives us a full menu of, and I know I'm missing stuff. I don't
No,
have
you're good.
everything, but I think again, it just gives us uh, a mindset into kind of like how you attack your pass rush plan, how you're trying to game up these tackles, and then of course you now combine that with the scheme elements, right? What's being asked, who we're trying to highlight, and all of those things. So, I mean, I've been seeing the chat. A lot of people are super excited that you're here and
Yeah.
that you're going to be able to really help this defense where we've kind of been looking. I would say I think that's a way to put it. We've been looking for um, someone to help us solidify that other side, and again, I think that's why we're super hyped. I'm going to take this one question. I think this we can end it on this one, so I can
Mhm.
get you out of here. Um, what's your biggest motivation this year?
Honestly, playing somewhere where I was highly paid and I thought that was gonna bring me fulfillment and not and ended up not being fulfilled in that environment kind of highlighted what made football special for me, and I was playing with a group of guys that, not the guys on the team, but I think like the coaches, so that I genuinely felt like wanted to see me succeed in this league and exceed everybody's expectations, and that's what gave me a lot of value and want to kind of uh, ball out. Like that kind of put me over the edge, and then also like being able to grow with the group of guys on the D line, like that's what means everything to me. And I'm not saying I didn't vibe with the guys in Philly because I
Right.
100% did, but like I know what this scheme brings out of people. Like in Philly, like it was like interior was in one room, outside was in another, and it kind of put a little divide in there. So I'm back in a group with like my entire D line. Like we got the interior and outside. We got the coaches all on one accord. Like I know what's about to go down. So my biggest motivation is just like being back with the group of people that got me playing at the highest level and being able to like put on for those guys, being able to put on for guys on the D line and on the defense in the city of San Francisco. Like that's exciting for me. So honestly, like, yeah, my biggest motivation is getting back to playing how I know I'm supposed to be playing and playing my brand of ball and just putting on for my teammates and coaches and the supporters in the city and in the country as a whole. So
Yeah, dude. And man, I'm hearing it too. You go back to what you first said about when you entered the league and, what your coach really poured into you and what that meant to you. And again, not speaking to, where you're coming from, but where you're going. You're now
Yeah,
with a group who that's what it is. It's a belief, it's a brotherhood. We know, from covering this team and hearing from others that, we do have a special locker room culture, and we
yeah,
have a group of people who care about each other and want to see each other succeed and are going to help and pour into one another. And so that's what I'm excited about. And it's
hmm
cool that's something that you feed off of. And you've kind of
100%.
seen the other side of, getting the bag and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm assuming it helped you kind of refocus, kind of
Yeah,
recenter yourself and become more aligned with what it is, and it's your love for football, right?
100% love for the game and just being able to be out here and know that it's just ball. Like I'm not worried about nothing but getting better every day and putting on for the guy next to me. That's really all it comes down to. So
I see a question here in the chat. Bryce, are you doing an autograph signing soon?
oh yeah. So the autograph signing, I have it lined up with a group. They're getting this set up for me right now. You guys like follow me on Instagram. I'll post about it when we get the details locked in. But essentially, 100% of the proceeds or profits from the autograph signing, whether I'm signing T-shirts, posters, pictures, all of it will go to a charity to benefit the kids in
Oh, that's awesome.
around the Santa Clara area, or kids that might not have as much. Uh, some better off communities that could definitely use a boost in education or after school programs or whatever it may be. So definitely follow me on Instagram, and I'll keep you guys updated about when that'll be, so we can so I can give back with your guys' help.
Yeah, dude. Make sure everyone you go follow Bryce on his Instagram. I believe it's Bryce Huff, right? Just straight up, straight to the
Just my
point.
name. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And we see the Bugatti right there in the title too. Speaks to that speed coming off. And again, any more information about what Bryce is working on, I'll of course share it with all of you guys, and to make sure that you have the opportunity to go support a great cause. And again, dude, I got to thank you so much. Shout out to my guy Alex as well for helping us get this thing going. And again, I could probably sit here and watch film clips with you for hours on
Oh yeah,
end,
I'm
but
already knowing.
I got to get you out of here. I appreciate your time, dude. And like I said, like I've been watching the chat, everyone is hyped, and
Yes,
and I've
sir.
seen all the fan reaction. And again, now tying kind of a little bit about what makes Bryce tick. I think it's just going to be a great situation. And
Yeah.
obviously 49er fans want to see wins, but we want to see good people thrive as well. And I think that's exactly what we got with you. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, man. I appreciate your time, dude. I really do.
I appreciate you, Brad. Thank you for having me on and giving me the chance to talk about what I love to do. So appreciate it.
Absolutely, bro. Fans are welcoming you. They love to see it. And again, welcome to the Bay. We really do appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing what happens. So feel free to drop out. I'm going to vibe with the people for a little bit. But thank you, man. Thank you so much again for
Yes,
joining.
sir. Appreciate it. You have a good one.
All right, brother.
All right, peace.